All right, in this section, let's cover strings because the string object is the most used in the entire language when you want to store sequence of characters, i.e. text. So it's really important that you understand how it works, and some of the things that you need to be careful when dealing with strings. So the first thing here that I want to do is, you saw that if we want to create a string, so let's just say string name equals to and then Jamila. Now obviously we could use var in here, but let me just stick with this. Since we are learning about strings, I want to emphasize the string keyword instead. Now you saw that with strings we can basically perform a bunch of operations on them. So here, maybe if I want to get the string to uppercase, I can just say south name dot, and then you've learned about methods before, so we can trim, we can perform a lowercase on the entire set of strings, we can check whether it's blank, whether it's empty, so on and so forth. So here, let's just, for example, say to uppercase. Let's also take everything and say to lowercase. You can also check whether a string is blank. So here I'm going to say south, and for this I'm going to add a couple of spaces in here, and this is a string in here, and I'm going to say dot is blank and is and then empty. So is blank and empty, you'll see the difference in a second, but let's also explore. So south, and then we can say, for example, name dot, and you can see the list of methods are quite useful. Actually, trim is a good one. So trim basically removes trailing spaces. So here, if I have hello and then spaces at the beginning or at the end, for example, it will just get rid of all of those spaces. Also, so here if I say south name dot, and if I scroll down, you can see that you can perform a compare on them. You can get index of, for example, so you can get substring as well. You can check whether it starts with, so here starts with, and then J, for example. Let's also use substring, so name dot substring. And here substring basically allows us to take a portion of a string. So maybe I want to take everything from A in here. So I'm going to say take everything from 1. So this is the starting index or the starting point. If I end this with semicolon, then I can also have the starting point and the ending index. So here maybe 4, for example. So we'll take from 1, which is 1, and then 2, 3, 4, and you'll see this in a second. But if I run this, let's just run this, have a look. So to uppercase, Jamila, to lowercase, everything lowercase, is blank in here, basically is true, right? Because there's no content in it. Is empty, this is false because we have white spaces. And then hello, have a look, we got rid of the trailing spaces. Does the name starts with capital J, true. Then we performed a substring, so substring on Jamila from the first index. So remember, in computer we start from 0, so 0, 1, so everything from 1 onwards. And then we also said we want to take from index 1 all the way to 4, therefore we just take AMI. So this is the ending point. Obviously, there are other things that you can do with strings. For example, if you want to replace part of the word, you could just say, for example, south, and then Jamila. And right here, I'm just printing things. So you see the output. So name instead dot replace. We can replace all. We can replace one character with another character. So maybe you want to replace J in here with, and I think yes, so let me put this on a new line in here, so just like that. And just bear in mind that you see target colon in here, don't add this. This is IntelliJ giving me hints, so let me just show you. So in here, so do not show hints, and you can see that that's gone. But I kind of like to have the hints in there so I know exactly what I need to pass for each of my arguments. So I want to replace J with, for example, S. So Samila. I don't even think this is a name, but have a look. So now we have Samila in here. You could replace all, so on and so forth. So also there's another one. So here, South, useful. So name dot char at. So you can get a specific character at a specific index. So 0, let's just say 1, and I think that's enough. Run it and have a look. We have J and then A. So this is pretty much how to create strings and how to explore and how to use some of its methods. Now, obviously, what I advise you to do is to explore the string class. So press Command N or Control N, and this should bring this pop-up, and type string at the top, select the string class, and here you can go through it. So we've been through this, but obviously if I click on structure, you can see all the methods in here, all the public ones and the private ones as well. So remember, public and private, we've learned about all of this. And I think at the beginning of this course, I've showed you the documentation where you can learn about all of this. So in here, this is the class string. And right here, if I scroll down, you can see there's some information about a string, and you can see all the fields, the constructors, which we haven't covered, and then the method summary. So char add, which you just saw, concat. So if you want to concatenate two strings, you can do it. So contains, which basically allows you to check whether it contains a value or not, and format, get bytes, index of is blank, is empty, and you can see the definition of what these methods do. So I'm going to give you some exercises on strings, but for now, just know that a string allows you to store a sequence of characters and you have a bunch of methods within it. And what I didn't show you actually is, so if you want to concatenate strings together, so here, so let me just close this as well as this. So you saw before that if I say South, and then here I can say name plus. So the plus sign works differently with strings. So you can basically concatenate. So Jamila, for example, Ahmed. So if I run this, this will give you a brand new string called Jamila and then Ahmed. So this is how you can concatenate two or more strings together. Now let's also, so here I'm going to say South and then name dot contains and then Ahmed. So Ahmed. So this will give us false in here. So it doesn't contain Ahmed, which is false. And that's because here we just created a string, but we didn't assign it to any variable. And this one's still intact. So this one doesn't contain Ahmed. So if I put Ahmed in here, so Ahmed, and then run this, you should see that it's true. It contains the word Ahmed. So this is it. I'm going to give you a bunch of exercises on strings, but next what I want to focus is some of the more complex things that you have to understand when working with strings.